so the second video for this test review that I'm going to do is number 6, 9, and 11. So 3 of the multiple choice questions. All right, so number 6 says the height of an object in meters above the ground is given by this equation. Okay? T is the time after it's been fired. For which of the following intervals of T is the object higher, or above, above a height of 350 meters? So this is a good calculator question for you. I would start, and I'll sketch a graph here once we make our picture. But let's start by sketching a graph, and then we can draw it onto our paper, okay? So let's use our calculator, and let's type into the calculator the function they gave us. Negative 4.9 x squared plus 84x plus 5. Okay, so the window, I don't know. I'll go back to the main window real quick here, and then we'll see. All right, so I need to make my y's taller and my x's bigger. So, I don't know, x max, let's make it, we'll just go to 50. We'll see, go by 10s. And my y max, I'll go to 100 and also go by 10s. We'll see how that goes. All right, so my x's worked, my y's did not. My y needs to be higher. So my y max, let's just jump up to 200. Not still quite, so maybe 300? Not quite. 350, I think. Well, I'll just go to 400. I'll be safe. Won't be 400, but there we go. Okay, so there is our parabola. And we want to know where our graph is higher than 350. So what that means is, once I sketch this here, I want to know where the graph is above the line y equals 350. So what I need to do is I need to first graph y equals 350 on the same axis here. Because then I'm going to be able to find the area, which I'll show you on the picture here. We want to know where we are higher, which means above that green line. I highlighted one part, so I have one inequality, which all of these do have, but I need to find the intersection points of those two equations so I can find the time values that we're going to use for the interval. So what I do to find the intersection is I go second trace, number 5, intersect. So I have to find my first curve. Is that, oh, there's the cursor. Okay, so I'll do the right one first. I bring it up. Once I get close, I'm going to hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And it says that we intersect right around 10.3, 350. So I'm going to write that ordered pair here. 10.3, 350. And then the other ordered pair, second trace, number 5. I bring the cursor to the other side, closer, hit enter 3 times. And that's at 6.8, 350. So the interval there, I always do my interval based on the times, the x's, would look like it's between 6.8 and 10.3, which is only the option for C. Alright, so hopefully that helps you review there. We'll do another one on this third video of a quadratic inequality. Number 9 here. For which function, or for the function x squared minus 2x minus 15, what interval is f of x greater than 0 always? So this is a quadratic inequality. This is similar to the second quiz you did this unit. The first thing I want to do is find the x-intercept. So I'm going to factor this. You need to find 2 numbers that multiply to negative 15 and add to negative 2. That'll be negative 5 and 3. So this quadratic factors is x minus 5 times x plus 3. And from there, using the zero product law, by setting each factor equal to 0, I can determine that the x-intercepts are at 5 and negative 3. Okay, so when I look at this, I'm going to just sketch a graph. I have a root at 5, a root at negative 3, and I know that my parabola, since the leading coefficient is positive, is going to open up. That's a really bad parabola, but you get the idea. Okay, so I want to know where I am greater than 0. So that means above the x-axis. Well, when I'm looking above the x-axis here, there's actually 2 parts to my graph that are above the x-axis. So I need a solution set with two inequalities because I have to write an inequality for each part of the green shaded section. So first thing I can do is I can cross off A and B because those both only have one inequality. Now over here, I would have open dots on either side, which is good because all these intervals would have open dots with the strict inequalities. Because I have two parts, my arrows on my number line would point out. The left inequality here would be x is less than -3, and the right one, x is greater than 5, which matches part D. All right, and the last one I want to try is number 11. Number 11 here, which of the following is a solution set to the inequality -x minus 6 is greater than or equal to 0? Well, to graph this one, we could try factoring. So the only thing to factor out here would be a -1, which would give me x squared plus 6. But then x squared plus 6 doesn't factor. So this is a prime quadratic. So there's two things you can do. My suggestion to you, before you jump in to complete the square, is to graph the quadratic to start. And I'll tell you why once we graph it. So we have -x squared minus 6. And when I graph that, oh, I need to change. Sorry, I'm going to delete the second one and go back to my standard window. This quadratic is all the way underneath the x-axis. So when I sketch it over here, I'm going to sketch it right now, you see that there are no x-intercepts. So even if I did complete the square on this problem, I would get two imaginary roots, which still doesn't help me graph my quadratic. So if I can at least look at the picture and see that there are no roots, I know that I don't need to factor or to complete the square. If this graph had crossed the x-axis, so don't do this, but in case, say the problem was x squared plus 6, you would see that there are two x-intercepts here. So even though it doesn't factor, you would know you would have to do complete the square to find the irrational roots. Okay, but that's not the case here. We'll do that on the third video. This graph is upside down. It's underneath the axis, which you can also see from here. Upside down, y-intercept is negative. And we want to know, where are we greater than or equal to 0? Where are we above this x-axis? Well, nowhere. The graph is all under the axis, which means that the solution set, there are no x's that will produce a point above the axis, which is the empty set, which is option C. Okay? This one, these A and B here, those both tell you the same thing, all real numbers. So those are the opposite of the empty set. Right, that's your third video. Try the other multiple choice. They're similar to these three. If you need extra help, check the key on Canvas or ask your teacher for some help.